Hey YouTube, it's JP Dillon. Today we're going to look at a 1970s Sears portable black and white television, solid state, or at least I think it's solid state. The model number is 562-502-60000. I picked this up at a crazed estate sale. There were about maybe 30 portables, and I was too far back to get all the ones that I wanted, but I scrambled to get this and a couple of others, which I'll do videos on eventually. But it's in okay shape. You can see it, the antenna tip has been crushed. It's got a little paint stain there, but otherwise it's complete. And it's got its very strange looking AC/DC type power cord, so that's what made me assume solid state, since it doesn't appear as though there's any other evidence of that. So I haven't touched this thing at all. So we're just going to plug it in and juice it and see if it comes to life or see if it explodes. Alright, here goes nothing. Let's see here. Excuse me just a moment. This actually had a polarized plug. Well, I hear sound, that's a good thing. That came up fast. Alright, so obviously we've got some sweep issues here. Let's turn it around a bit. Surprised at how fast that came up. Maybe it's got like an instant on. Let's see, we have our oh, well, that takes care of that. Alright, so we obviously got a vertical sweep failure. Goes in and out when it wants to. Cool. Let's turn the brightness down so we don't burn it into the tube face. But that's where we're at. It's trying. Got a nice bright CRT, that's for sure. Let's see if it'll pick up anything of value. Tuner's super touchy. Okay, well, let's open it up and see what's inside. Okay, so here it is with the back off. And as we can see, it's Toshiba. Pretty well laid out chassis, really. All these neat little connectors. It's littered with bad ELNA capacitors. There's your flyback and your solid state high voltage rectifier there, little focus divider there. This thing's pretty well made. Probably why it's still going. And you've got this here. Not sure what this board is. There's your ID tag again. You've got this guy here. You've got your 12 volt. At least I assume it's a 12 volt. Tip it up on its face here. There's got to be your IF section. Probably one of those is the horizontal output. Don't know, and the other one's probably a power supply regulator. Of course, then what's this guy here? Of course, one of those could be the vertical output too. So, got to be careful of these pots here, which are just kind of there. Not very much support for them. So this is full of old ELNA capacitors and Macron capacitors. I think that's the name. Alright, so that one's your horizontal out there, since that's going from the drive transformer there to the flyback. So the other one could be a regulator. which is sitting back there next to the B boost capacitor, 3.3 microfarads. All these gray capacitors are almost always bad at this vintage. Just looking at the board, it looks like very early 70s. So I think what I'm going to do is mark all these caps, particularly in the vertical section, and I'm betting that a good majority of them are going to be bad, but let's find out. Okay, so far pretty much a good third of the capacitors on this board are dead. These small values here in the vertical oscillator, these are both open. This is bad, this is bad. This still checks okay, although I might replace it. These two are still alive. These ones back here are still alive. This is flat out open. So I'm going to just change all of those just to kind of get things working a little bit better. I'm not going to show you all that because recapping is kind of boring. We're just going to swap the parts out and turn it on and see what happens, because I think that this is probably the most significant. The fact that this is totally open, this high voltage boost, that's probably going to affect our sweep, which is why we had a lack of sweep and poor vertical. Definitely the caps in the vertical oscillator need to go, but I think that once we get the sweep going and clean the tuner up, there's a good chance that it'll work okay. So we'll get to that and see how it turns out. Alright, so I decided to splurge a little bit, and I basically just recapped the whole sweep board, because although these test good on the ESR meter, you can see that they're leaking stuff. So good idea to just replace them all. The reason why I wasn't getting a reading on this is because whoever put it in here didn't actually solder the lead to the board. Looked like they did, but there wasn't any continuity between this side of the capacitor and the circuit board. The capacitor itself checks okay, and it looks like it was previously replaced, so I am going to leave that one alone. So now that we've gotten everything on the sweep board replaced, we're going to see if our vertical comes back and if we can dial this thing in. Wow. Now we've got huge vertical. Still shifted off to the left a little bit. Might have to adjust that horizontal frequency. Well, we still haven't gotten a raster yet. Let me get a screwdriver and tweak the vertical a bit. Alright, so I'm going to turn the vertical height pot. We can see it does shrink up quite a bit there. And let's go with vertical linearity. That brings the top down. Next thing we'll do is actually see if we can get a signal into it. And then as far as the positioning of the horizontal hold control, if you turn it all the way over, it will kind of sort of get close, but I don't think it's right. Let's turn it to about midpoint. And then there is an adjustment on the circuit board for sub-frequency sweep control. If I can find it. No, I've seen it kicking around here. Alright, let's tweak this a little. Ain't quite running fast enough. Or at least that would suggest that. We can put a signal through it and see what it really looks like. Let's get it hooked up. Alright, so let's see if we can get the vertical to stop rolling. Man, that pot's touchy. And Yeah, so we've got the shadowing on the left here. And it does drop in and out of sync. And we can see it does eventually center up on both sides. So it's like a lack of width. So maybe like centering magnets. Let's mess with the centering magnets. Okay. Need to work on the vertical some more. Let me grab my little tweaker-matic. And let's go to vertical height. Looking better. Top is still pretty squished. Okay. Looking better. The width is starting to come up as the longer it's on. So my thoughts are is either transistors are waking up or we still got issues in the power supply. One thing you can kind of figure out is go off channel a little bit and then adjust the horizontal to where it kind of stands upright. And that's your center point there. Alright, so that's our center. So it's looking pretty good. Tuner's still really dirty. And we might go into the power supply here and do the caps in the power supply. I think that's our regulated power supply. Let's see if we go tweaky. Yep, that's our B voltage adjustment there. We can see turning that down and up definitely changes things. Alright, so I'm just going to turn that up a little bit so that it fills the screen properly. Gotta love digital. Either works or it doesn't. They don't have any reading on here as to what that's supposed to be, so I'm just really adjusting it so that we've got the tiniest little bit of overscan, because I don't want to like hurt it. That's looking pretty good, actually. Come on.
All right, Mr. Well, you said to keep trying, but I don't think I've got the strength. Darling,
Doesn't get very loud.
Well, I'll bet you $5 you can't get lady shoes on the first try. Well, that's a bet.
Now, I've just got one little errand to do, and then we'll go to our house and...
It's got a pretty good picture on it. The CRT gets plenty bright. I think we'll clean the tuner up in the pots and button this one up.
Well, Madam wouldn't if Madam had the money.
Yeah, cleaning things up, it's looking a lot better now. Cleaning the tuner brought the audio up too for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Changing results. I just never thought that I would get there. And they get me now.
This summer, get your best fun.
Pre-cool your home before 4 p.m. and
Yeah,
then
I'm
set
liking it.
higher until 9 p.m. Run your appliances before 4 or after.
I mean, yeah, I could do like a full recap on it and all that sort of thing, but it's pretty stable. It's been running for about 30 minutes now without any kind of sign of issues. Now that I've said that, of course, it's probably going to explode or some weird thing.
You get mine?
But yeah, it's looking good. So I'm glad this one was straightforward.
Love you all very much, and I'll be back soon.
Nice clear picture on it.
Vacation. I could pay for my wedding just on what I've made from Poshmark. I made over $10,000 and I was able to buy my new car. Download the free Poshmark
Cool.
app now.
Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. More stuff to come soon.